So it's been very interesting and it's humbling. I work with intelligent people who love what they do and who all really like working with each other. Coming in Monday through Wednesday in office here in San Francisco, it's definitely almost a war room, trying to figure out what the best companies are, how to get ahead of them. And working alongside our investment team is where Consero supports me. I run the entire back office, so I tell people I do everything but invest. So once the term sheet is signed, it comes to me, and I ensure that we get it across the finish line with a funding perspective, supporting the portfolio company's ongoing needs. But without Consero's help, I would have been dead in the trenches early on. I did not understand the outsource model, and Consero provides us with our management company, GP company, accounting, and HR support. And with those, there's a lot of menial tasks that need to be done, approving invoices, whether for $1, $100,000, they have to go through a system. Consero has saved me countless hours and allows me to be a strategic support function to our GPs when we're trying to invest in companies, closing the deal, negotiations with company counsel, working alongside issues that come out in a portfolio of 100 plus companies, which happens almost daily. Good, of course, but it's a time drain working with outside counsel, other vendors. And Consero has provided a huge lift to Base10 in that growing process. And it's probably been a wild ride for you, Aaron, to see from a few very easy accounting entities to a very complex structure with 20 plus employees in various jurisdictions. Generally, the back office has been seen as a cost center that is backward looking. And I think, frankly, with the recent issues we've had in the banking system, that's kind of switched the mentality of our GP to understand that actually the CFO and the finance function do provide value because we have a lot of LP capital that we manage, and that's our utmost responsibility here at Base10, as it is in most VC firms. Everything we do, we have to ensure that we are increasing returns for our LPs, and also preserving capital in situations where there is detriment to the deal. And with that being said, we have to understand exactly how the back office feeds into that. It's not only the funds that we have to manage, which are 6+ active funds here at Base10, but it is ensuring that we make payroll, that we are in compliance with local laws, regulations, taxes, et cetera, that stack up when you have over 30 active LLCs, LPs, et cetera. With Consero, I can sleep well at night knowing that everything is almost on autopilot. I really don't have to be concerned with making payroll, with ensuring that a new hire is being onboarded correctly to our PEO program, that when situations arise with personnel, that I can call Consero's HR team and they can walk me through what's best practice, what other clients are doing of theirs, how others have approached it without being very impartial, which is much needed in this environment because we inevitably have groupthink, and with decision making, we need to have that third party that says, well, we have 30 plus clients that are very similar to yours. Here are the situations that we've approached these. You can make your judgment as a business unit, but we will follow your lead. But this is the data that we've provided, which is invaluable with the outsourcing model. We've frankly considered bringing some of the accounting for the funds in-house. But what I've realized with our fund administrator and Consero is that the plugin that you have to the plethora of clients has allowed me to know exactly what is market and what's off market when we're making decisions for how we structure our LPA, how we make distributions, how we recycle capital. Things are very important to the business, and I could easily tap a third-party advisor, and that's you, Aaron. We do a lot of the AR, AP, sure, that's the bread and butter, but a lot of the strategic value comes from our partnership. I recall vividly during the morning of the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, I called Aaron right away. I knew he was in a different time zone, thankfully, because I'm an early riser here in the West Coast, to discuss what are others doing. This is what we've learned. This is how we've kept our ear close to the ground. And I think that permeated through other clients with Jama friends, which is cool to hear. And the network that Aaron and Consero have within the asset management practice, we've been able to extend other relationships internally and externally with them, and also just discuss them in casual social settings in the venture capital community. So it allows me to focus on the strategic, which is of course value add. And since March of this year, there has been a fundamental shift in mentality from our GPs on what the finance function can provide to a growing firm such as ours. Management company accounting, it can get complex. We have a lot of payroll, a lot of humans, and that we have to care for in people's livelihoods. I think when we've had changes to legal documents of the funds, the new mechanisms we put into place, there's huge risk that the buck stops with Jared when instituting changes to the LPAs. And we try to abide by all LPAs plus a plethora of side letters we have to maintain with our LPs. And when I'm reviewing those, Aaron is used to understanding there might be some 10 p.m. emails to me that ask random questions about an LPA that he responds to within 12 hours. And I need those answers quickly, right? Well, these business decisions need to be made yesterday. That's how it works in our practice and in our community. And having you on call to answer those questions alongside your HR team, which I don't think there's enough emphasis on that component of Consero. I think the HR function is invaluable because that's where a lot of the risk is when you grow, because you hire a lot of folks, you onboard they may be in different jurisdictions, there may be leave practices. When we started, we didn't have an expense policy, we didn't have a leave policy, we didn't have an HR formal policy, and Consero has been a good partner in developing those. And now we have full, robust policies that everyone is aware of and must follow. But there's a lot of traps, especially in a California setting, and particularly San Francisco. And the HR team has been very helpful in understanding and guiding us through the traps that we weren't aware of, with best practices, how we maintain leaves, these very random taxes that we have to pay in various jurisdictions, which Aaron is always on top of. I am not. So that, again, something I don't have to think about until it comes to my desk, which it saves me hours of time. I've been asked by peers recently, how do you sleep given the amount of work you do? And I say, yes, often, but it's only because I have this outsourced model with Consero and our fund admins and other outside counsel to afford me that time with myself, because wearing the chief compliance officer hat, wearing the CFO hat, wearing the operations hat, insofar, for all intents and purposes, on the outside, the COO, it's very, very difficult. But without the outsourced model, I wouldn't be able to have time for myself. This is going to be a unique response from each firm you ask. But I think for Base10, a lot of what I could define the culture here is scrappy. A lot of us just make do with what we have and usually have a really good outcome. And we don't really say no. And I need that in a partner too. There's a lot of folks who I ask, and other firms that I've evaluated for other services outside of the Consero model, where sometimes their risk mitigation gives them a no answer. And I think Aaron with Consero has always been managing expectations. It's always under promising and over delivering. It's simple. You hear it day in, day out from any org that you've joined or worked at, but it rings true with Consero. I think when I have those ASAP questions, which I hate using that ASAP because when people tell me to do ASAP, I don't like it either. But it's ASAP. You know how to manage my expectations. Like, I'll get it to Friday. It's always on my desk earlier. And that's just an easy ask from a provider. And most times I don't find that in 90% of our third-party providers. And I think that correlates well with the scrappiness. You're able to find ways by which an answer could be given without giving, with hedging, right? You need a hedge before proposing it. A very important decision, because that will be used in conversations with GPs and LPs when making business decisions on the LPA front that will dictate how the fund is governed, because it all starts with the management company. So scrappy is definitely one characteristic. Two, one thing that's also evolved in the CFO office is technology. We had a lunch some time ago with other CFOs, and we were discussing how unique it is that we work at the forefront of investment managers that are redefining the companies in which we invest by way of technology revolutions. but we, as the back office, do not evolve as often as our clients or our portfolio companies do. And so how do we now bring in this technology into the CFO office to better our daily processes that are mundane and not value add, and make it more automated? And I think Consero has done a very good job at adapting to technology needs of its clients. And even when last week, for example, we were looking at a leave management program, and I had no idea that it existed. And so the first person I called was our consultant at Consero. So she's lovely and one of the best. And I asked her, have you heard of it? No, but this is what we're used to. This is what we would do if you had to leave. And let's learn this together. And through that relationship, through our exploration of companies to invest in, we come across really relevant tools that can be used by Consero. So I sometimes say, hey, Aaron, this is something that you should look at for your clients' needs. We've also experimented with some new technology adoptions, and we've learned a lot through those processes. And being a pilot is sometimes arduous and time-consuming, but it pays dividends if the technology works for you. So that's something that we need in a partner, someone who's adaptable and can evolve with us. And you can own, and that's rung true, of course, with our evolution from a small firm when you first joined, Aaron, to a $1.8 billion firm and growing billion over year, we hope. So technology is going to ring true for anyone who joins a VC firm. And I think that's something that was also very interesting. Joining a VC firm, it's a very lean team, and I'm the only back office function person here at Base10. It makes it very hard, but through this model, it works. But other VCs, it's no different. There's a lot of asset managers out there in the VC community that there's one person who wears all hats. It's the ops, it's the finance, it's the HR, and it's usually the CFO, because frankly, it can be done with this model, and if it's done right, and 2 years later, it is working. And anecdotally, I think, Aaron, recently, in the last couple of weeks, we invested in a portfolio company several months ago who is creating a tool that will make my life a lot easier on the procurement side. How do we evaluate vendors, maintain the relationships, track contracts, et cetera, because that lives in Excel and PDF now, which is not the best process. And they've pinged you and said, hey, Aaron, can we work with your team, given we have a very centralized model with our accounting software? And you didn't say no, which was very powerful for everyone around the table, including our GP, who has a very close relationship with this portfolio company. And Consero was willing to work with us to ensure that we could plug into the back end, because we piggyback off of your software. And for that, we thank you. It goes to the point of bringing in-house and outsourcing. You have to acknowledge it will take time to build that relationship, that trust, that network with your choice, your vendor of choice. If it's Consero, great. I know I've spoken to 3 other managers who have ultimately signed with Consero for the reasons that I've specified earlier. Advice is making sure that you set expectations, that you're very clear, both formally in your engagement letter, but also with your needs when you're onboarding with the account exec, whoever you may be speaking with. Expectations are, you want to make sure that they can deliver, and that you're not that you're being thoughtful on everything that you need from an outsourced provider. And that may involve patience, writing down exactly what you're doing. And what I do is I create a running list of everything I do, so that I know that everyone in our team can understand what Jared is doing on any given day, so we can reprioritize. I would advise anyone who is struggling right now as a sole finance person in their VC or their growing VC firm, or even have a team, to write down exactly what you're doing. And some of the tasks can be offloaded and ensure that Consero can capture it, which they do for a $1.8 billion firm. I'm sure they can for an emerging manager that just launched their first $140 million fund. That's paramount. I think also ensuring you like the people you work with. Aaron's a great guy, and we have a great relationship. And Adria at Consero as well. She is an all-star on the HR team and has paid dividends with our other EAs who work alongside me to support me in some of these functions and who have grown into their roles here. They're a really grateful relationship, and just having that availability to your folks, Aaron, at Consero, and liking them is very important. And technology, I think, is going to be crucial going forward, and how the firm albeit Consero is very large, but how quickly are they to evolve into the tech stacks that are affording the office of the CEO benefits going forward? It's going to be crucial.